Let's make some bias tape. So bias tape is great for binding a quilt or a project that has curved edges. You're going to take your piece of fabric and you're going to fold one corner up and match it right along that top edge best you can, making a point on the one end. This is a 45-degree angle. So the easiest thing to start this is to just cut right along this angle. So I'm going to take my scissors and we are just going to hold the fabric down so it doesn't shift, and then I'm going to cut right along this folded edge. This is going to get us started on our bias cut. All right, now we have two pieces, so I can begin with this smaller piece. If this piece is really small, you don't want a lot of joints in your binding, so I would set it aside. But this piece is plenty big, so what I can do is start with this one. I'm going to fold this out of the way. I'm going to lay my piece on my cutting mat, and I'm going to take my ruler. And now I'm just going to simply cut my binding strips. I usually cut mine at 2 1/4. I think with this project that I've got going though, I'm going to cut at 2 1/2. So we're going to line your ruler up on that 45-degree cut and just cut 2 1/2 inch strips or 2 inches. Now, as you can see, we have cut on the bias, and so now our fabric has give. It stretches a little bit, which allows you to do a binding along the curved edges. I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to make one more cut. This is just barely long enough. I can go ahead and do another one. After that, it's too short, and I don't want to use that use those lengths any longer. So I'm going to just do one more cut here, set this aside for another project, and continue on. So now I can go ahead, pull down my fabric that I cut prior. Want it to lay nice and flat. And now I'm going to take my ruler on this long edge again, that 45-degree. When you start the cut, make sure your ruler comes off of that fabric so you're not just eyeballing the beginning. So pull your ruler down past the fabric, line it up along this edge, and cut. Now that we have our strips cut, it's time to put them together so they make one big long length. And the trick to this is you do not want to line these up equally. So since these were cut at a 45-degree angle, they work just fine for joining. And what you're wanting to do is line your edge up, but have the point come off the edge 1/4 inch. So I'm going to put a pin in here just to hold that. What we're going to do is fold this back and check to make sure that this works. So prior to cutting anything, you want to kind of audition this. And as I fold this back, it looks like the line continues on and it works. So I'm going to take this to the machine. I'm going to stitch right along this edge, and that will join these two strips together. Once you have all of your pieces joined, you give them a good press to one side, or you can do an open seam press, that would be fine. But they should look really great. So it's a continuous line of binding, and now we can move on with whatever project you have and get that finished.